Hey, hello guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Career Advice. So before we start today, there are a couple of points that we got a couple of queries that कि सर आप ऐसे एक्सप्लेन कीजिए कि आप एक प्रोजेक्ट ले रहे हैं और उसी एक एक कॉन्सेप्ट को आप समझाइए. So guys, this is what I've been telling from the beginning that we are we have taken a project and the topics we are covering in sequence how to set up that project. So please do follow the episodes in sequence. अगर आप 15th एपिसोड देख रहे हो तो 14th एपिसोड को कवर कीजिए, 13th एपिसोड को कवर कीजिए, 12th एपिसोड को कवर कीजिए, फिर 15th एपिसोड देखिए ताकि आपको पूरा का पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आएगा. एंड यू प्रैक्टिस दैट in a server as well so that you will get the hands-on. Any queries on that part, that how to get a good server or any problem surrounding it, do let me know. I'll help you out in that. तो बस इतना ही था. आज की टॉपिक है कि हम जो पिछली बार छोड़े थे नंबर रेंज के बारे में डिस्कशन किए थे थ्योरी पार्ट, तो आज हम उसके पूरा का पूरा प्रैक्टिकल पार्ट कवर करेंगे जिसमें हम पूरा जो 4 एलिमेंट्स है डॉक्यूमेंट नंबर रेंज पोस्टिंग का, जैसे नंबर रेंज हो गया, पोस्टिंग लॉग्स, क्लियरिंग लॉग्स, फिर वो रूल्स फॉर करेंसी हो गया, डिफाइन ऑथराइजेशन फील्ड्स फॉर चेंजेस हो गया, तो ये पूरा कवर करेंगे ये. और उसका जो प्रैक्टिकल पार्ट है, लास्ट पार्ट हमने थ्योरी डिस्कशन किया था, ये प्रैक्टिकल करेंगे. और दूसरा एक नया टॉपिक शुरू करेंगे एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड इनवॉइसिंग. And this invoicing will be applicable for both SAP FICA ISU and also those who are interested in SAP FICA as well. तो ये बहुत बड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट है, बहुत बड़ा टॉपिक है. सो प्लीज डू वॉच टिल द एंड. इट इज गोइंग टू बी ए लॉन्ग वीडियो टुडे एंड एज यूजुअल डू वॉच टिल द एंड. एनी डाउट, एनी क्वेरीज, please do let me know or comment us in the comment section. And in the next episode we will be discussing the completion of invoicing part and also the practical part of invoicing, how you will set it up, क्या क्या उसमें master data कैसे create करेंगे, etc. So yes, please start today's session then. Let's begin. Thank you.
Okay. So next topic, we are moving towards the next topic is collective invoicing and joint invoicing. Now, collective invoicing and joint invoicing and budget billing, these three things are related to mostly to part of billing and invoicing and part of finance. So most of the cases, we need to understand these things because it is part of finance as well as part of billing and invoicing. So when we are talking about the invoicing, mostly we discussed previously, we created the order, created the meter reading, we put the meter reading result, we create the billing document, we created the invoicing document, and finally the print document get created, and that print document linked to the posting document, and that posting document holds into GL. GL linked to multiple stuff, like we identify a GL by putting five parameters: company code, division, account determination ID, main transaction, and sub transaction. But if there would be a special kind of billing, not special kind of billing, it's collective billing. Special kind of billing is referred to the TOU, time of use seasonal billing, and your weekend billings. But here we are talking about special kind of operations on our billing. So one of the special kind of operations we do is called the collective invoicing, and the other one is called the joint invoicing. Now, in a simple invoice, you can see we created the whole invoice and we get the FICA document. Okay, and this FICA document linking all these details: manual billing, billing documents, budget billing, and STP document. And then we have printing document, print document. But when we create a budget billing or a collective billing or a joint invoicing, our print document structure gets changed. Why it gets changed? Because we need to represent more details of the receivable, payable, and the line items. So that's how the print workbench people create different forms to do the print document for separate operations. Okay. Now, if we consider the master data of a for a invoicing process, we understand this. The billing document created on contract. Okay. So without contract, we can't create a billing document. And it's a very popular question people always ask. So on which object the billing document created? It's created on the contract. Whereas the printed document created on the contract account. Okay. Now, but when we do the posting done on the business partner. Okay, that means the general ledger don't know about the contract account contract, they know only business partner. Okay, so from a external perspective, like if you are a SD person and if you want to know for which customer the amount is posted, so you'll always get the business partner because that's the person, the identification we got on which we put the open items. So contract account receivable and payable documents always link to the business partner. It indirectly linked to the contract account, but directly linked to the business partner. Now, when we need to do some special operation, we need to change either at the contract account level or at the business partner level, at the contract level, right? So then we can impact to the billing document, print document, and the posting document. Okay. So at the contract account level, we create all these details, general information we are passing, and we also can pass the budget bill. Okay, so the budget bill we can create at the contract account level, and there we need to apply the budget billing request. Okay, and then budget billing procedure. Once we apply the budget billing procedure, the contract, when do the billing, it will catch the budget billing procedure and generate a invoicing document which holds on the budget bill. So we create a structure for contract account where we can apply the budget bill. So let's see in a simplest way. No, that's a good data. Yeah. So here, if I'll go to the contract level, so now you can see here data relevant to budget billing. You can see this tab. Now here we have 3 parameters that we need to allocate. So first is budget billing cycle. So from which the budget bill cycle will start. Now budget billing cycle should be start from the starting of the year. Okay, but if you start in between the year, you need to put that cycle. Okay, 6 number. Okay, but it will be end at the year end. So if your fiscal year is starting from the 1st of April and ends on 31st of March, and somebody come into the system on June, so after 3 months they come, so the budget billing starting you need to put this cycle number 3 to, so 3 means started from June onwards. Okay, similarly category of extrapolation. So how many extrapolation we can do? Now what is extrapolation? Any idea extrapolation? So based on, like, if I say a example, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what would be the next number? So definitely you will say 5, because you understand from the previous enhancement what is the extrapolation. Okay. Similarly, there are different extrapolation procedures. Like first one is automatic. Based on the previous history, we can understand what would be the next billing procedures. Okay. Similarly, the frequency value are extrapolated based on the expected services. Expected services means when we create a installation, we put the load there. From there, we can understand, or from the amount from the previous billing relevant values, we can do the extrapolation. So mostly extrapolation is kind of uh, forecasting the next meter reading units or next amounts or the next uh, posting value. So those three things can be applied here. So now if there is already business is telling, okay, use some extrapolation. So you can apply like 1, 2, 3, 4. So first one is automatically, whatever the previous history is there, it will pick the extrapolation and do the budget billing. Service frequency, based on the requested services, on that we can do previous period and previous year, same period. So mostly previous year, same period. So I'm trying to explain that the budget billing, when we put all these details relevant, so it will give you another field to put the budget billing plan, BBP, or based on the budget billing style, it will pick the budget billing plan from the system. So let me use shaky code called ES22 to display the contract. Here we can put 235. No, it's not aligned. Okay. No. So in page 1 only we have the budget billing. In page 2 we have joint invoicing. So here you can see the joint invoicing conditions are there. Here you can choose either, there are 3 options, 1, 2, 1, 3. One, each contract must be invoiced jointly with other contract. Contract can be invoiced jointly with other contract. Can be. So must be means it should be a joint invoicing procedure and the contract should be jointly invoiced with other contracts, right? So in the contract account level, it will pick other contracts as well. Whereas in the other case, contract can be invoiced jointly with other contract means you can do the invoicing individually or you can do the invoicing jointly. And number 3, contract must not be invoiced with other contract means it will be invoiced separately. So joint invoicing is kind of a invoicing to create a single invoice for a business partner which have multiple operations. Okay, so in 2007-8, there was a big operation of Airtel in Odisha. So they have separate units, they have separate offices. So they always take 3 invoices uh, from the utility companies when I was in Punjab. So what they do, they they asked to send one invoice for all the BST. BST is base transceiver offices. Invoices to one of their technical office that is in Rajiv Gandhi IT Park. Then they asked to uh, put another invoice for all the offices. They call that sales offices, sales outlet offices. And for that, they have the office in Chandigarh sector 17. So, but there are multiple offices. That means we are generating the individual invoice in individual bills for each of the offices. Finally, combine them, create a joint invoice, and send to the customer. So that's how they are very useful joint invoicing, right? So that is joint invoicing. Now, what is the problem with joint invoicing? That you can see the individual billing values for each of these offices, but you can't see the individual invoice amount for all these offices. So what is the difference between billing and invoicing? The major difference is the billing will hold the current uh, consumptions amount, okay, whereas the invoice holds the previous areas plus the taxes. If there is any extra amount which need to be applied, like interest or something, that need to be held into the invoice. Okay. Whereas the bill only uses the current amount. So that's how, if there is a society where 1,000 people are there and they decided to pay the amount in once in a time, like they want to pay all together, okay, and we send them joint invoices. Is it a good idea to send them joint invoices? Because maybe tomorrow they will come and say, look, I don't know what is the total amount, why you put taxes on me, why you put extra areas on me, because the areas, taxes and the interest are applied on top of the total amount of the invoice. Okay, so they may create a conflict. So that means we need a separate method by which we can separate those stuff, separate the invoices, and then we collect in together. Is that okay? Okay, so there are some T codes to create all these documents. So to create the bill, EA19 is very common. To create a partial bill, EA25. To create like bills on the contract, we have EA10, EA11, and these all are useful. Okay. Now, these are you can use for the joint invoicing and for what we call for budget billing agent. But for collective invoicing, we need to use separate T codes to create the bills. That is EA10_COLL. Okay. Now this is useful for collective billing, and then you can create the collective invoicing. So during the invoicing process, we trigger all this stuff, like we trigger the billing creation, we trigger the collective billing creation, and we trigger the joint or partial billing creation. So all this stuff is done, but most of the stuff at the contract account level, not at the contract level. Contract level, we just control them. Contract account level, the final invoice get generated. Okay, so I'm not going to the individual process. Okay, it's not useful for us. Tax determination. Now, tax determination is part of finance, FICA. Tax determination is done through a tax code. Now, that tax code need to be applied at our GL level, at our posting level, or during the account determination, we can apply some tax rate. Okay, based on these periods. So yesterday, when I am showing you the general ledgers, there we can apply some tax determination. Or else at the account determination, we can apply some tax determination, because if you can recollect the EK02, we also have a tax determination there. Okay. Now, we understand we can do the tax determination, but for that we need to put a key from where we can understand this is the tax determination we need to apply for that particular key. Okay. And here you can see tax determination is here with our account determination. But still then we'll go with a complete detail of tax determination, tax ID creation, and how we can apply that in our segment. That's the details. We'll do that. Rounding, we discussed the rounding at the posting level. Similarly, there are rounding at the invoicing level as well, but that is again not part of our job. We will do that. The finance, the invoicing team will do that. The finance team only consider the rounding at the posting level. Okay, so rounding are many types. At the individual line items also we can do rounding, or we can do the rounding at the end of these invoicing processes. So anyway, the rounding create lot of money actually, either at the positive end or negative end, but it should be very carefully considered. I can give you one example. I was working for a utility company, and they show me the actual invoice is happen, means the actual payment is happen around 200 pound more. Okay, what is expected? They are very confused because the utility company is always in panic mode because of the legal stuff. So if somebody paid more, they have to claim that back. So they asked everybody what is the extra amount coming. We need to check, because if it will be stay there with them, then there will be interest they have to pay. So they bring back that case come to me, and I observed that most of the time what happened, the amounts with like point like 98, it increased to 1, like that. So they do a round up with individual line items. That's how 200 pounds are extra came that month. Okay, so that's how the rounding will helpful. If they will rounding down, so it may be create a loss for them. Similarly, as I mentioned, on the each individual you can do the rounding, or at the final amount you can do the rounding. So when we create the invoicing, it also impacting our three major process. One is dunning. Dunning means warning, which we need to do. Late payment surcharges. Late payment charges means somebody is not paid on time. We need to understand that, and we apply the late payment charges. Okay. Then installment plan. If somebody is not paid with time, we need to ask them or give them options to pay that with installments. Okay. And if these three operations link to our invoicing, that means these three operations need to be applied. Applied at our, as I saw you last time, we have applied up at our GL level, but before that we need to create the procedure by which we can apply. Apart from that, interest calculation for cash security deposit, because interest calculation on the amount which is need to be paid, that's a separate, and interest calculation on the security may be different. And the as per the policies, you can apply the interest only once on top of the amount which is payable, and you can't put every year interest on top of that. That is one of the policies many follows. And on the security, whereas you need to apply the interest every year. Okay. Account maintenance would be, now why it is only for 1 year, because within the year, if they didn't pay the amount, we need to apply the dunning, the other charges, and we disconnect that. And once we disconnect, that amount may not be paid, but we are not providing any services to them. So that's how the only 1 year interest will be applied for the additional money. Similarly, account maintenance would be there. Account maintenance definitely based on the which account need to be hold, which kind of invoicing that need to be done. So that is account maintenance. Account maintenance item process. So each individual line items will be applied. Now these line items will come from the invoicing. So here they clear very, very simply whether it is 20 euro or something, if he paid 15 euro, even if that is we consider as the posted amount. So it mentioned paid budget billing amounts are automatically included and posted. Simple stuff, right? But mostly we expect that whatever is the budget bill plan, whatever the budget billing is there, he will pay that much money. Okay. Then main item. Now, I left the first one. Manual billing are automatically included. Manual billing automatically included means when we create a manual bill, we need to put all these line items. And when we put the line items, automatically it will capture those details. Okay. Main items such as payment on the account statistical items can be included and settled using the settlement control. Okay. Now here, what about the statistical items, which is again linked to the main items that need to be included. So main items, let it be the posting amount would be the main item. If there is any link between the statistical amount, in example, flush billing, where we need to consider the statistical items for last 12 months, that need to be considered. So all these line items need to be posted here. Posted at the system level, and if we need, we can put that at the print level as well. Settlement against the first or next budget bill billing. Okay, so that is the settlement which I am telling about the flush billing. Sub items can be shown on the bill, no settlement offers. Okay, so if there is any sub items also in the bill, that also need to be shown. So let's see one of the billing document. Okay. So I think for you these are very common stuff because you people always work on those stuff. If you go to the billing period, is there any bill document? Yeah. So if you click here in the bill document, you can see all this stuff. You can see the line items. So this is the line item 1. At the line item 1, you can see what are the amounts there in the single lines. Okay, the billing quantity, you can see the net amount is 0 here. Okay. So the time portions, all the details. And if it is statistical posting, it also shows the statistical posting condition. Okay. So now there is only single line item here. So that's how you can see much, but you can see the line items, the details of that calculation, main transaction, and the sub transaction tax code. Okay. Tax code applied to which general ledger, that is also there. So, and you have validations, validation 2 from, that is the period, linked to which schema, which kind of calculation it is linked. All those details are there at your bill. Okay. So that's how it will work. Now sub items again, when we pick all these line items and we put them into a print format like PWB or in a smart form, we need to put this smart form. Now, why I'm explaining these items, sub items, statistical posting, and the operations, because all these things we need to consider during our clearing, during our posting and determinations. Okay. So now how we are doing the due date determination. Now due date determination we are getting from which? Payment terms. So when we create the contract account, we put a term called payment term of payment. Okay. So there we are applying some details, and from there we are getting the duration. Okay. So let's consider the contract account label where we put the payment terms. Like here, there is a payment term. Now this payment term actually holds the duration. So 15 days due net. So from the day we generate the invoice, from there to it's 15 days. So that is called the payment term. So you can see here it is mentioning the same. It's C, what is the payment term? Let's consider 001. From the 001, it's linked to the due date. Once the due date is linked, it's then check what is the FICA terms, FICA terms of payment. It's incoming or outgoing. Let's consider it's receivable. Okay, because we have always two type of stuff, payable or receivable. Now receivable, so from there you can understand 14 more days it will give them as grace period to pay. Okay. And then it will check the posting date. Okay. Because from the posting date, it will give the 14 days grace period. So it will understand the payment term, the receivable or credit, the posting date. From there, it will generate the grace period, and all these two date, document date and system date. From there, it will understand which date it get generated. Okay. System date is the current date on which actually is created, and document date is applied when we create this information. Okay. So that's how we determine the payment terms. We'll see how to configure the payment terms as well. Okay, that same thing it explained here, how it is explaining the due date. Posting date plus the payment terms grace period equals to your due date. Now, when we generate the due date, now we have another concept of budget billing. Now, budget billing also need a due date. Now, budget billing, whatever the budget billings are there, we group them and we apply the budget billing due date. And for budget billing, we create a separate portion. Now, what is a portion and what is MRU? MRU is a concept where we get all the meter reading under a single units, whereas portion generate the bills for all the installation on a same date. That's a portion. Now, once we created the budget billing plans for different segments, we need to allocate them under a single portions. We call them budget billing portion. And under that, we need to determine the due date and allocate that to the budget billing. Okay. And this you can check at the table TE501, how it is linked and the intervals also. Okay. Now, once we understand the dates, first, next, due date is understood, open items are understood, then if he is not paying, the process is dunning in invoicing. So the dunning we need to apply. Okay. And for dunning, we need the date. First, we need the open items. Okay. So you can see in the invoicing whether the open items is in a debit or credit or negative or positive. You need to see that first. And once you see that, then you need to check whether the dates are already beyond the due date. If it is beyond due date, it would be red. Okay. Once it is beyond due date, you need to check determination of the incoming payment method. What are the methods we allocated to them? Okay, let it be automatic debit, or they may already paid in some advance. All those stuff we check. Okay, and check determination of the incoming payments method and check whether all the payments methods are clearly checked or not. Okay, so there is a basic ABAP work there, which is linked to the R430 for user exit, and they check the incoming payment methods are all okay. Now all the methods are okay. Okay, then they proceed for the running procedure. Okay, so incoming, outgoing, everything is checked. Then they check the posting areas. Okay, posting areas linked to our determination of the GL. And once that is done, then they proceed for the process. Okay, that is your dunning process. So from the due date, we proceed to the dunning process by checking each of the incoming, outgoing processes, if any advance is there or not. And from there, we proceed for the dunning procedure. Similarly, for the joint invoicing grouping, as I show you in the system, we have options 1, 2, 3, and from there we can understand what is the invoicing need to be done jointly or not. And from there we group them. And once we group them, the parameters need to be allocated them. Okay. So how the joint invoicing happening? We have a contract account and it linked to multiple contracts. You can see there are multiple contracts. Each of them have different utility. Here you can see electricity, gas, water, cable, television. 4 utilities are there. All these contracts are linked to separate installations because contract and installations are one-to-one relationship. Now the bill gets generated for each of them separately, but when we do the invoicing, it will link to them all together. Okay, so that's the joint invoicing. You can see again the documents created, all of them, and as based on their options, like one is mandatory, all are mandatory, one is optional, one is exclusive. Optional means it can be go to the joint invoicing or it can go to individual. One is saying that no, I need to generate the invoicing separately. So even if it is contract link and option 3 is there, it will, the invoice can create it individually under the same contract account. Okay, and when we join them with number 1, 2, and 3, it must be go invoicing simultaneously. Now, all this is controlled by an event called R403. Again, this is a technical stuff, but just for the knowledge, you can understand there is an event called R403. They do all the stuff for joint invoicing. And for intercompany invoicing, where there are separate 3 like XY, ZZ, and RS3 contracts are there, and they have separate invoices. And finally, they posted them under a single ledger. And you can see when we do the posting, we need to identify the company codes there, RS, ZZ, because what will happen, let it be invoice is generated under a single company code, let it be XY, but they need to be posted on separate ledgers. And the ledgers are linked to your company code, you can recollect. Okay, so now based on the code, the ledger need to be determined and the posting need to be done. Like here, you can see wastewater and waste disposal has a company code of ZZ, the posting is happening for them. For cable TV, the company code is RS, and for electricity, the company code is XY, right? Yeah, XY is there. So they have separate ledgers. The ledgers are determined from the joint invoicing, and the posting is happening to them. But now there is a catch here. All of them, if there is under a single system, there should be under a single group company code. Okay. Invoicing of different services. Now, yeah, same example, different services. And the invoicing will go to the same person. The same thing again explain, that is for the company code, how the posting is happening and how the invoicing get generated for a customer. That is explained here. Okay, different services are there. So the print document would be separate and that need to be posted for the customer. Even if there are any maintenance stuff is happening from the PM side, plant maintenance or WM side, work management side, they generate the ST billing, and that ST billing also need to be included and posted. And once it is included into the ISU invoicing, that need to be linked to the same GL. Okay. How the ST invoices are integrated? When we generate the ST invoices, we just put the category as U. And once we put the category as U, the invoice automatically know it need to be integrated with the ISU invoicing. So the ST invoicing get generated, but so in ST we don't have billing. We just directly generate the invoice. Now the SD invoice get generated, and it's from the code it understand it need to be integrated. That integration request, billing request, go to the invoicing, and when the invoice get generated, it pick that value from the SD and post under the FICA contract account. And similarly, as it is integrated, it will post into the same ledger into the FICA. Okay, so outsorting.